So that Burning Man week is going to be wild, emotional roller coaster. I'm glad. And Coach B, you'll be around for Burning Man week to help out a lot?
Yes, I will.
And Kai?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, so you have a team.
We got a team.
Have a team. and then we have decompression. You know, for the burners.
Rotation there, right? Because those people coming off of that Burning Man can pick up for the people who carried the torch during that break, right?
Yeah. So I think this is transition week, right? This is the pass the torch week.
But that week is like three week.
So this is the begin to pass the torch week.
Yeah.
Really on the end of the week, because Lorelai won't be back until probably like Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday?
I'm going backpacking after Burning Man.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna sleep for 7 days after Burning Man to break down again.
Okay, so you know what, guys? It's really like this crazy emotional roller coaster swing. It really, because I'm not back until like the 15th in full blast. Because once Burning Man takedown is over, I have, you know, a bunch of random dusty shit that I have to put in storage containers and like return things and close accounting out, and like there's a bunch of post burn. I'll be on the upswing. But
same with me. I'll be on your schedule.
oh yeah, are you gonna come with me to Seattle? So then, you know, it's really like that transition week is pretty much September 8th. And, you know, we'll need a lot of support from the 25th to the 7th from everyone who's not at Burning Man. So, because I'm sure Zargum will need to ramp up block science and won't have a lot of space after a week vacation for a common stack. Like everyone's going to be, like, you know, this is going to be the, Burning Man's still going week. Okay? Where everyone realizes, oh no, I thought we were going to get a break because Burning Man's over. Yeah. And you don't.
By the way, I just found a piece of glass on the floor.
Ooh, okay.
But I think it's also the time, like, we have channels, we have a community already. We went to Odyssey this year. There's lots of people who are not here, who have not been like in these talks, who would love to like help and support. And like there's this one task where it's like what to do with Abby, you know, and it's like there's so many people not coming to Burning Man that for sure, like if we start to engage them again,
I think we should add to our action items actually. Like again, it's all the work we're doing. I talked about this before, but like response kits and stuff. I think that we need to empower our broader community as a very specific action item, because I think that
we have like both the point that you and Kai are making. We have a specific action point there. The FAQ is actually a very crucial element in that, and we're gonna like train some people. Like this is the document, and if you see questions and nobody is picking it up, you can do it. And the prototype person we were thinking of was Andreas, who is already doing that spontaneously because he really gets it, but we'll provide people with some of these answers in a sexy FAQ. And we'll probably...
Cool. Yeah, so I'm just... I feel good about it as a strategy that we are actively prioritizing doing the work that we need to do to empower other people to do this with us. Definitely. So it's really not all just on us.
Yeah, we are indeed already preparing now for the time that we will be away, so that it stays reasonable for Jeff and that he can delegate such things.
Yeah, so that 2 week period could be called trust fall on the community, right? Like we got to build the community up so we can do this trust fall for these 2 weeks. It's gonna be wild. I mean, it's and it's gonna be a trust fall. You know, this is make it or break it time, right? We do this launch. There's probably like no one's paying money in, but this is when all the buzz is happening in the community. This is when all the buzz is happening in the chat rooms, and people are deciding. you know, do I want to apply for this? Is it worth my time to even take that first minor step of soft commitment? This and what's going to make it or break it is probably how well we, got the community rally behind us before it, right? And because we won't have the support of our core team. I mean, we will have we'll be running, at like, half the cylinders are going to be running, but this is where we, yeah.
I have an interesting thought for you. This is a really, really poignant experiment in anti-fragility because it's technically an adverse scenario where we're getting the opportunity to force ourselves to grow in a way that we might not have grown well if we hadn't had that adversity. You see what I mean?
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah, amazing exercise in stopping reliance on Giveth.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a huge thing for the Common Stack. Right now, it really has felt like my project with Jeff, like really like supporting, and now it's going to turn into sort of like Jeff's project, right, with everyone else supporting, and then we get into this like, okay, how do we transition with our fucking dictator? Now that we have this approval thing, like this is the week of the 8th, right, where I start coming back from Burning Man and slowly integrating myself, taking up tasks and whatever. This is the Griff is not a dictator anymore week, and we all like fucking say, no, Griff, fuck you. That's not you don't know what's going on, right?
Back end, it's
yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, this isn't Griff's project anymore week. That's going to be a great week.
Yeah. But no, that's really cool because I think if we think about it carefully, what we're doing is we've created a scenario that breaks the status quo so that the system can reform. So it was a phase where it had necessarily to work in a certain way, which was still quite centralized. But by having a discrete breakdown of the status quo, we're allowing the system to reform in a more decentralized way. So our launch is actually aligned with this sort of self-reformation process.
Yeah, we're gonna have new leaders that we didn't expect. That I'll come back and be like, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he running the show? This is like, Griff, you don't understand. This guy's a superhero, or this girl. Hopefully, God, that'd be great. So like, it's gonna be exciting. And but then on the 15th, I am gonna come full swing, and I hope to play linebacker. Fill the gaps. Shoot the gaps, and I'm going to be a full engine. I have never been 100% on this project. So like, September 15th, I'm 100%. So that's exciting. And it's going to be the big transition week where I assume like everyone who's been running on full steam takes a break, right? Yeah, exactly. This is the new energy week, right? Where Lorelai comes back, Griff comes back, Sargam comes back, Chris maybe comes back.
I think Robuscox, but I normally yes.
Yeah, so like this is the final push, new energy, breath of life week, right? And
Jeff getting a bit of rest is possible. And
it will be our big raise because this is probably the time where a lot of the people have already been approved. And like through the criteria. So like, this 2-week buzz that happens while we're at Burning Man, this is like, no one's necessarily putting in money, but they're really just like, deciding whether or not they love this project. Maybe we start getting some people to put in money, right? The first approvals come out, right? But really this week of the 15th, this is closing week too, right? Like, yeah.
Can I just determine the order of things? Are we, and I added this in somewhere, I don't remember of all the docs, but as far as approving people according to the criteria that we set out, are we hoping that is done by September 15th or that process is happening throughout? Like, I mean, there are definitely people that I'm sure between myself and Baron, we can say yes, no, yes, no. There are probably people that exist outside of either of our experience and knowledge that it's not that we need you as a dictator, but we need your experience and relationship knowledge with these people to also approve that.
Yeah, so
So should we say something like applications are completed and approved by like September 30th, or like, or if we're launching applications at TEG, applications are now open, everyone apply. Applications are open until September 15th, September 30th. Applications will be approved by October 15th and contributions can begin. Or like, I'm just curious what I am hesitant that we can get all of the approvals completed without your input.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I think this is actually part of your what is launching on the 23rd. Like maybe, you know, that like this approval user journey that we can talk about, we should talk about before we leave each other's presence.
Okay.
Like how we do that and dates that we promise for what, you know, and how we're gonna have to figure that out. But I would imagine that, you know, on the 8th I'll be available and you know, I'll try to, you know, if I have internet on the thing, but I think hopefully the criteria will be pretty clear, you know, I hope.
No, yeah, it's just the subjective aspect. I mean, the criteria will be clear. Yes, you were not accepted because you don't have enough experience, but or you're asking for too much money compared to your level of experience.
Apply again, right? Like people might, if someone asks, if they fail the criteria, they could try to apply again, right? Like, and say, okay, I just want to donate.
Actually, I have a really specific suggestion for that. We could essentially reject people's number requests and just offer them much smaller numbers. So we could avoid actually really having to hard reject people if we have a good rubric on how what level of expertise should map to the total opportunity, so that someone might come in and ask for something that we think is too large, but we can just say, look, like we're not going to accept that request, but given what you've said, you know, here's a much smaller number, you can contribute up to this much or not. If you think that's offensive, then you can choose not to, but actually we can get away from having, we really won't need much in the way of hard no, and we can still be very inclusive if what we actually respond with is, hey, sorry, you know, we're only willing to accept this much from you.
It also creates some FOMO, some more desire. Oh, I want more. Oh, I want more.
And internally, or maybe both internally and externally, just dogpiling onto that very good idea, we could kind of have bands of like from this amount to this amount. It's always going to be a somewhat subjective judgment trying to quantify somebody's level of skills or expertise. But if you want to get between this much and this much money, you should, you know, a description of their level of ability to contribute to their field, or their achievements, maybe even already delivered in their field. If they want to get a huge, if they want to give like a huge amount.
And this goes right with the narrative that like the fact that we're doing this is because we do want the decision-making group to be both diverse and decentralized. Obviously, there's going to be a distribution. Some people are going to have more than others, but like there's a lot of dimensions to it. And what we're actually saying is that we are putting our sort of effort where our mouth is in terms of diversity, trying to make sure that we do actually end up with both diversity of people and diversity of backgrounds.
I mean, if TCRs worked right now, we would use one. This is sort of like a decentralized TCR, a centralized TCR that we're saying.
It's a discretionary policy version. So actually, I don't know if you guys, I think I sent a link, a short like 5 slides talking about governance as 3 layers, like human, messy, wet, down through middle layers, which are a little more hybrid, down to automation. TCRs jump straight to automation. We're doing something here that's a little middle ground, where we're creating some discretionary policies that allow us to get transparency, like engage with people without going all the way to hard algorithms that are just not ready.
And everyone in Moloch, everyone in Metacartel is doing this constantly. Every meeting in Metacartel is like, okay, this guy wants to give us 100 shares, but that would give him 12% of the total pool. I think that's too much. Like, we want his money, but like, let's just give him 50 Ether. And that way he has 6% of the total pool and doesn't have too much governance power. Like, this is real. And the fact that we're considering it, everyone in Metacartel and everyone in Moloch will appreciate the thought, because it is a real consideration if we want good governance. So anyway, and maybe, and that's definitely going to be part of week 8, like the last week of the Burning Man like disappearance, right, and the ramp up, and week 15 is these approvals and getting them in. So week 15 is breathing new life in. We have like, we're curating our trusted seed, and then 22. I think this is like full blast. I hope that everyone can be around on 22nd. This is where things start to get fuzzy. This could be party week. This could be the week that, you know, everyone's back and let's fucking celebrate because we got fucking $10 million. Oh, well, that's above our cap, but whatever, right?
California.
Yeah, exactly. We'll buy the yacht, blow all the cash, and run away. No, just kidding.
Sail to the Caymans.
Just
live?
kidding.
Oh, no.
No, oh yeah, it is. It is. 100%. No, obviously not. This is the real week. Either we're celebrating because we've done it and we just need to finish. This is like keeping the push up and finishing through the finish line of where it's like we're not necessarily ready to start like working, but we gotta like the last week of full blast fundraise, and then on, you know, I think by October 1st, assuming we have the million, you know, this is like start laying the foundation for actually building iteration 1 and all the other iterations that we're doing. So like, you know, this week 22, this is like, you know, hey, we all coming back together, you know, let's do it, and let's like keep this last fundraising push and keep the momentum up. But then after that, you know, it's kind of like make it or break it. September 30th, we cry because we failed and we give back the money, or well, we haven't decided that yet, right? We might decide October 15th, right?
Who's the decision maker?
I'm just gonna the final decision maker on that one, I believe, is Griff. Just to confirm, yeah, Griff. So I was just doing some thought process through. I don't think the contributions should happen while everybody is away. I feel like there are too many dependencies. That means we need all our whitelist approval. That means we need all our applicants into the forms before tag, which is a hard ask. Then we need all of those people approved before tag, which is a hard ask. And then we need to manage all of the contributions and hand holding through the contributions while everybody away. Seems next to impossible to me, as well as managing the tidal flood of comms. So I proposed on this thing that I get to make a decision on that we open applications on August 23rd. We really push applications on August 23rd. We let them open for 3 weeks. We say applications close September 15th. That's when the team comes back. We can manage the comms around applications. That I'm not worried about. Yeah. We can also follow up on soft commitments with everybody who is applying. So we're getting an idea of the funding as it's coming in. Then approvals, applications close September 15th. That means we have the rest of the team to give final feedback on anybody who needs approval. I said approval is complete by September 30th. So we're telling everybody we're giving ourselves a 2-week window to consider all applicants, and you will know whether you can apply by September 30th. Contributions start October 1st. That gives us a bit more leeway with our token contracts. We're not in a complete bind on that. Contributions start October 1st. We already have a good idea of soft commits because we followed up with everybody who has applied as well as all our advisors. So we generally know what we're making. We've got this kind of party like, hey, we have this much earmarked, and now contributions start. And we can be putting out, this is also when I can return to regular content production. So I can be pushing out stuff on how exciting our system is while contributions are coming in. We can be launching these web apps and videos and all this cool stuff while the contributions are rolling in. And this, we're not giving up like our understanding that this is going to move forward because we've done all this prep work with the applications, the follow through and the approvals and the soft commitments, and then roll forward from October 1st with actual collecting money.
Okay,
wait. Yeah, short feedback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying like the date of the 15th in between that you say to close off like the submissions. It's the week that Griff is gonna come just back in full force. I would propose it's less sexy date, but September 20th or something, so that the connections that you have, that you can still chase them, submit, like fill in the form now. because you have a lot of these like connections in the field.
Didn't you say 30th applications closed?
No.
I said
15th.
applications close on the 15th, approvals complete September 30th. Maybe we don't need 2 weeks for approvals.
Yeah, probably not. We should
So
be
we
doing approvals before that.
Oh yeah, approvals will be a continual process, but
Yeah, I think we need one extra week.
Applications, yeah. So, okay, so I want to give Zargam a chance to rebut because I think this is very much against. So, in summary, applications open at TAG. Applications close
a month later.
a month later. And then approvals are complete September
A
30th,
week after that.
week after that, and contributions start the next day.
So you're not taking any money before, you are not taking, in this case, you are not taking any money before that month after tag.
So how about I agree that is also potentially an issue. What if we hit up our advisors for early contributions?
That's what I was saying.
That is the 3x. They get their 3x if they can contribute early. Just die into an address, no contract, no token. We say, hey, we're good for this. Official contributions are going to start October 1st, but we need some pre-funding for block science, open source CAD, because that is one big dependency in our raise right now that we need to address.
Okay, but we can't spend the money if we don't get over $1 million.
So that's not going to be about spending the money. I'm talking about this, you know, as much as, again, I want this to happen faster and I have other bottlenecks, but we're not going to make that about that. We're making this about the actual process that we need momentum-wise, this project. And so in this project, I will agree with Jeff, conditioned on the fact that we do at least the inclusion of the people who are directly involved, so team members and advisors, we should be able to actually do contributions so that we can point to the contracts with activity on them, so that we can look at them. Even if anyone else outside of the direct advisors and contributors won't have gotten the opportunity to contribute yet because they have to go through the application process, and that can wait. What I want to do, though, is make sure that there's at least some measurable, visible activity on the part of this other group. And I think that that's separable in a way that we're not handling the new applications for a month, but we can still show that it's real.
Okay, so this adds a month of payroll to the pre-funding budget.
I mean, I don't like it, but I mean, you guys are saying that this is feasible.
I'm okay with it. I think that it's a little drawn out. Like I think it could be a little faster than October 1st. I think we're going with too many round numbers. So I think we should, personally, I think applications can close on the 15th. That's fine, and approvals can be I think we can move everything up a week. And because I'll be in Seattle, you know, running trucks around. You know, I can make my priorities be like, yeah, I got 20 hours that week.
I have one
Talk to a lot of people in 20 hours.
I have one question. Why do applications close?
What?
Why do we close applications?
That's a good point.
I suppose you're right.
Probably in a date.
Well,
Yeah.
No,
this is
It's not that the applications close, is that's when we promise to give first responses.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a difference. We're not closing applications, but no one should expect responses until a date that we pick. If you think that the starting responses can be sooner, but we also don't want people to be like sitting there waiting, why haven't I heard? Why haven't I heard? So the reason for the October 1st is to make sure that a large bulk of the applications that come in, say while you're at Burning Man, actually get fielded, so that we don't actually set expectations for the people who apply.
Yeah,
It's not.
I think they should close and we reopen them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is an element of the ICO hype that we actually want to retain, like this psychological element, because otherwise, why the fuck would people
You have to.
Yeah, you have to have a deadline for people. Otherwise, we just won't get our donations.
I was just gonna say we close it, and it can even be if you want, for example, the countdown on the website saying that is the application deadline. We're closing, and it's counting down. Fuck! I still have to do this. I have a busy blockchain job, but I'm doing this first. And then if it's closed, it's like the same with the central. They contact us. Here's the link. You can still apply if you want to. But It's for the full.
Okay, we can't do too much of that because if that comes out on Reddit, then like we're in trouble. You know, like we have to have utmost integrity. Like for Burning Man, I do this right. I say, yeah. Guess what? You know, dues go up on the 25th. Dues go up on the 25th. Okay, guys, I understand you didn't get your dues in. There's some extenuating circumstances. We have 3 more days. Like you have the weekend. Like consider this your lucky day.
No, but the difference.
With the multiplier.
Can I just say something? The difference is we don't receive payments yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's not
contributions. These are not hard contributions. So we close it and we think we have the cap, and then only half the people really pay in, then we're screwed. So these are soft commitments unless we have the money.
Yeah, I think
these should be viewed, in my perspective, as commitments with respect to our process of reviewing applications. So we can do multiple waves of that. Like we just need to be clear that like it's work for us to process this. So we can set a date and we say we're going to collect a bunch, and then anyone who got in before this date, we're going to process them before we go to the next one. And so if we do we take more, we're going to say like we're going to go through all the applications that came in before the date before we look at the ones that came in after the date. And like this is not all that uncommon with other types of review processes. Like ultimately we're constrained by our own ability to do a good job following the discretionary process that we put out for evaluating. We just need to set expectations with people like get your thing in by the date, we'll review it. If you come in after it, we're not going to look at it until we look at everybody beforehand. So like you're going to have to wait longer, and if it's fall, it's fall. But like you missed the date, you have a penalty in the sense that you're not being prioritized.
and you risk not being in.
Well, and also, doesn't the multiplier change when people are contributing later on?
Yeah.
So maybe this is like applications closed for getting a certain multiplier. What's the first multiplier?
2.5.
Okay, applications closed for a 2.5x multiplier on whatever September 15th.
Except the multiplier is determined on money.
I want to just confirm that means if you send us 1 die, you'll have the ability to put 2.5 die in within the year.
Yes. But that's dependent on the min thing that has nothing to do with time. So like there's no time dependency. That's like, hey, you better, if your money comes in, like let's say that we've already raised 980,000 die, right? If we've already raised 980,000 die and someone sends us 8,000 die,
Only
4,000 will get 2.5 multiplier and the other 4,000 will get 2x multiplier.
right.
Right? Like I am pretty confident that's how SpawnNet will implement it. So like, I mean, I can make that in an issue. But yeah, so it's not time based. But of course, you know what? I definitely think that we should close it for at least 2 or 3 days because we can always reopen it. But we got to have this clear like. There, we say something and it happens, you know. Like,
Yeah, but
and then we reopen it, you know, and say, hey.
Closing things, but my point, you know, for talking to Baron, that the actual raises end on money, not on applications. So the point is, we can open up a batch of applications, take them, process them, and reopen. But like we can't make it so that we can't substitute the review process of the applications is a separate process from the completing the raise. So if we go through and process all the applications and it's not full, then we just say, hey, we're taking another batch.
So that means it's a messaging thing. You can have a countdown on the website, and you can say somewhere in a little disclaimer, if you don't get our funds by that day, we might reopen, and we'll come up with something. Messaging.
This should have the flow that Lorelai is talking about, because if the first batch fills it, you've missed it out. You don't know a priori whether there's ever going to be another batch on the 2.5, because if the applications fill up the thing, there won't be another opportunity.
And is there, besides the choice whether we accept an investor for a certain amount, yes or no, is there any other like criterion, because one thing we could do, for example, is still collect their money in a separate contract so that the die is already there, and then we say, okay, we will review your application, the money is already there, and if you're in the batch sort of, then we'll convert your die into these tokens. So basically send it to the contract that generates the tech tokens. If not, it will be reimbursed. And then in that same contract, we can say, we can put something in like, if you're not approved before that date, then you're able to withdraw your die again. So it's like without risk for the people that actually send the money in. Then you already literally have the money, because I can see a situation where you would have, if you have like, let's say 100 people who apply and are approved by us, maybe only 80 of them will actually send the money in the end, or maybe they change their mind because there's like a time span between the moment that they said yes and maybe they just read up and they say, yeah, maybe it's not something for me. We approve them, so we assume that they add to the cap we are trying to reach, and then later on it appears that we're not reaching our cap because of that. Just saying that there might be some technical solutions to that as well. So I was just wondering, and maybe that's the tangible question is, why, what's withholding us from already accepting money from people before we actually have like approved them? Does that have to go? Does receiving the money has to go after them being approved, or can we just refund it? Because otherwise, like Bernd said, it's only a soft commitment, not a hard commitment yet.
I mean, it's a funding. It's definitely a funding strategy, right? Like, do we say, yeah, send money, you know, prove your commitment, and we'll tell you if the money is good enough for us, you know, or do we, and because we might just send it back, we don't want your money. Well, then we have to hold their money for that time, which is pretty scary. And then the other side of it is, you know, do we have to like motivate people to actually send them money and chase everyone down and say, hey, like, you better hurry up. Like, there's a dude, like, I just want to give you a warning, like, money's coming in fast. You better like send that die in like now, because this multiplier is going to run out. You know, and we have to kind of re-motivate people again, right? And that's a challenge too. So
we cannot issue a token then. So they can pay in, but we cannot issue a token because it's cryptocurrency. We cannot force them to give the token back. So and if they don't complete KYC and AML, or if we don't approve them as a member, then they don't get tokens. So at the end, they only receive the token when they are approved in the KYC AML. Because otherwise, we cannot issue a token and then ask the token back. That's not going to happen. And
yeah,
the
I think the decision to not try to get money was to cut scope for the week that the Burning Man people are gone, and to say like, hey, we don't need to like force people to make that money sending decision, because like there's a difference in psychology between deciding, do I want to send money to this thing? Like, do I like this project? Do I think it will? I'm going to evaluate this project and then make a soft decision. And then there's another kind of thing where it's like the FOMO, I need to get the money in right now. Like, do I want to get the money in right now? And like, it's like ICO madness kind of a vibe. Is it like two?
We also separated the application and the contribution, because we wanted to see if we have enough money for them to go to KYC, to not have to pay Mount Pelerin already at the first step. So the contribution or receiving a token is something that you can only do once they're accepted to KYC.
I don't know if that's, I mean, our current...
They have to go through the full, they have to apply. They have
I think our current plan was that we wouldn't do KYC till we physically have the $1 million, right? So
yes, but we cannot give a token out before they went through KYC. Otherwise, we cannot force them to give the token back. And the token is the whitelist.
Yeah, so I guess they're not.
It's not
So there's a whitelist before the token.
It's not atomic. The process where you get the token it's not a token sale. Literally, we're not saying give us money, you get a token. The process has both technical and human layers. The output of it is a piece of state on Ethereum that proves that you've completed this process. But since the process has non-technical, non-on-chain elements, it's when you complete the process that there's a transaction that says, here's the proof. And they get this non-transferable, non-fungible thing that's attached to their address that they paid us with, but it only happens after some human shit happens, which includes the KYC AML.
I wanted to say
I think that's sorry, Griff, go ahead.
It is a fungible token. It's non-transferable, but it is fungible.
How is it fungible? If it's uniquely tied to an individual address, then they're not in any way interchangeable for each other.
If Ether is fungible, I have Ether in my address and you have Ether in your address.
Let's just not worry about the technical definitions of these words. They're badly used in crypto. Fungible doesn't mean that it's a real valued number. It means that it's completely substitutable one for another.
Exactly.
And they're not substitutable because they're attached to identities. So they are not fungible because they have an attachment to a piece of data that's not one for another is not.
I still have to disagree, but we can have this debate later.
I'm not worry about it right now.
Yeah.
Very formal definitions for these words, and they're used very badly. So it has to do with colloquial definitions versus like their formal definitions.
Maybe.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add earlier on is that what I hear is that, I mean, what we could do is create a contract where people can actually send DAI to, and then there are sort of two switches you can flip. One switch you can flip, which is one that Burn can do, is that say, okay, now your KYC stuff is done. So I flip the switch that you receive tokens. Or there's another switch I can flip to say, yeah, you're sort of rejected for what reason, one reason or another. Then you pull the other switch and then you refund the DAI. And then after a certain period, the user itself can also flip that switch to have his DAI refunded if he like changes his mind or if he thinks or first is a scam or whatever. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to automate that in a smart contract in a way that you can already accept the money, but not necessarily issue the token.
I think the technical implementation is always easy to do. Well, not easy to do, but it's like anything is possible, whatever we want. It's really about what Jeff decides on. What is this? The timing for things, like what is launching on the 23rd and the roadmap that we portray to the audience, and then we make the tech match that roadmap. And dates next week, right? Yep. So.
Yeah, maybe the only thing I'm seeing is that it might be a different form of interaction with potential contributors. If Jeff is not available at a certain point in time, I, for example, could help people get their DAI into the contract. I mean, it's a different narrative than explaining them how to do the KYC and so forth, which is 1,000 can be like postponed until whenever we decide, or to the beginning of October, for example. That's all I'm saying. So I don't necessarily think that we have to support like the full story from A to Z at all points in time.
I mean, I think that we have gone in depth about these dates, and this is definitely why we did this decision matrix before, right? And so Jeff's going to have a lot of advice process on this one. Might have to rewatch this video because there's a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of good points about all these details that fall into place once this decision is made.
Hey, Jeff, do you have the diagram of the workflow from the whiteboard with the multi-step process for approving people to get them on the whitelist?
Yes, I do. The one on the whiteboard was there a diagram of that eventually made?
I took a photo. I think I took a photo of it and you, but it was from the conversation with Baron. I would like to suggest that we center the discussion, the future discussion in support of your decision on making sure that we're defining in terms of the steps in the process so we don't miss something. Because what I'm hearing is that The issue with dates in this case is that they actually pertain to which parts of the process are supported at what time. It doesn't have a date. It has like sets of dates associated with supporting different parts of the process for whom. And so we'll have to just kind of break it out and probably fill in a grid. And it's
what's funny is that we also did this process without you guys on like a user journey for donors. It sounds like that sounds very similar. Is that?
I think that they are aligned because we had some cross talk between people who were in those different work groups. But the difference is it's between narrative and experience versus the technical rules. So narrative and experience is like someone going through the process, versus this, which is closer to the design of the process's rules. And so they're related, but one's from the perspective of the system, the rules have to be met, and one is from the perspective of the experience that it has to feel good to the person who's meeting them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like a key component of this decision-making process, because this user journey, which I have on my screen, at least from that breakout, it's like, this is kind of the flow of a person coming in, and it maps on our roadmap really well. Like we start like people, we filter people in, we really learn more about the common stack. Hey, tag, this is what's happening. This is all of our resources, like come on in, the funnel starts. And then each person has to decide, do I want to be part of this, right? And if they decide yes, then they fill out the contribution form. And once they filled out the contribution form, they've signed the TNCs, they tell us what they want to do, then we approve them, right? And if we approve them, yes, and then they get to receive their approval.
All I'm saying is that these are two mutually related sets of requirements. You're describing the user requirements and the user flow, which is the user's perspective. And what we have is the alternative is the legal and systemic perspective, which has different requirements because the stakeholder it represents is making sure that we follow the law, making sure that the systems make sense operationally. And so these different stakeholders having different requirements over the same set of related things. So we captured both, and they both need to inform the final decision.
So this was basically, we drew this out because we started saying, our contributors, by getting a token, are we crossing legal boundaries? And the point was, no, we're not, because just the contribution alone is not sufficient for returns. It's actually a multi-step process. So the contribution, you get your token, which is the proof of contribution, when combined with a KYC AML process that approves them, then they get whitelist rights. And then if they choose to donate, then they are hatching a new DAO. So there are multiple levels of conditions that need to be met before you say, give me money and you will make a profit. So this is kind of like the legal separation for
multiple stages of process and legal separation that define things that are, some of which are regular legal world stuff and some of which are blockchain world stuff. In fact, here you have the legal workflows, the Montpellier stuff in the top part. You've got the contribution process in the bottom part. And if you have both of those, then also actually the application process that we've been discussing, there's like a collection of things that all have to happen. That's an and that precipitates getting the token, which is the whitelist presence. And then, as Jeff just said, whitelist presence itself isn't directly equal to investment. Rather, you are basically pre-approved to participate in these new ecosystems.
Yeah, I think we're getting to this. I think we're talking about this thing that it's like once we get to this portion of the calendar, we start getting a little fuzzy, right? Like there's a lot of decisions that start drastically impacting what we're doing in these last couple months. I think we've going through this exercise was fun, and we've brought out a lot of interesting topics that luckily we've already assigned decision makers to.
I think we're not saying they're not already assigned. We're actually facilitating a really hard thing for Jeff while we're all together, because what I'm saying is that given what we just discussed, his decision profile is actually which process on which date for which people. And so his set of answers is like a grid of answers. And so we're trying to help flesh it out for him while we're together so that it's not an overkill task for him.
For sure, for sure. But we have 20 minutes left, and I have a few other things that I want to do. So
Okay.
let's just do a quick recap of the craziness that is our next 2 months. Okay, really quick. So next week, continuing the push, keeping momentum alive, right? Like making decisions and setting the course. The week after that, emotional roller coaster. People are starting to drop off. Other people are starting to come on. And we are like maintaining momentum while losing momentum. It's going to be wild.
While we're in this week, what is the last date I can schedule one-on-ones for you with advisors?
With advisors?
Yeah. For our
the 9th probably.
9th. Okay.
Yep. So from the 28th to the 3rd, hard push. 4th through the 10th, this is when things start like emotional roller coaster. People are coming in, people are coming out, and we got to be building the community, right? Building for the trust fall, right? And then 11th through 17th, it's this is what was the 11th through the 17th? Jeff's game. This is like the last week. This is the last push before conference week.
We call it decision week.
Decision week.
But yeah, it's more like finalization week because decisions will have already happened.
Yeah, decisions will have been taken, and this is where they're really like finalized. This is where we review. Yeah, we review our decisions and we say, "Yep, it's set. You know, it's really set, and we're pushing forward with what we got." And there's no more input from me either. So that's going to be awesome. And then it's conference week in real life, pitching, saying hello. Like this is the 18th to the 24th, the launch, right? Like this is the buzz. This is the beginning of the buzz. And then the 25th is like, this is Burning Man week.
Explosion week.
Yeah.
Where our comms blow up and
yeah. This is the fucking wildest week where everyone is gone and everyone is buzzing. This is the like dichotomy between the external world view of the common stack and like the like, holy shit, is this real? Yeah. How do we support Jeff? Right? And so Spawnette, everyone, this is where the heroes step up, right? This is the community trust fall. These 2 weeks, this is where we make it or break it, and we pivot, like we rebuild our organization, right? Like this is the beginning of the sea. This is like the star, right? This is like the beginning of seeing the light, and now we take that momentum that's built. New people the people from Burning Man start coming back in. So I'm kind of combining the 2 week period from August 25th to September 7th. This is like, that's the crazy trust fall, external versus internal confusion, and who fills the holes, you know? Like, I mean, when we create this space internally, dude, there's going to be community members stepping up, and we're going to have to bring them in, and like this 8th to 14th, this is our reintegration period for us, right? Where we have the people with like where I come back, Sargon come back, these people with authority that had authority before the burn, now they have to be reintegrated in, and they have to be bitch slapped and told, sorry, guess what? It's a new game now, right?
Decisions have been made.
Yeah. Decisions have been made, and you're rolling with it. And it's like, oh shit.
This is no Burning Man.
Yeah. Decompression, right? Recompression. And then we're flowing. And on the 15th, man, it's hard to say what's going to happen. It depends on too many. I don't think we should define that right now. I mean, we just did like basically a month and a half, and past that it gets really fuzzy.
So this is team reintegration week, and it will also be approaching the end of some things. We're not quite sure what. It'll either be closing applications, it'll be completing approvals, and contributions starting somewhere in the latter half of September, latest October 1st.
Yeah, I mean, this is reassess and attack, right? So I think we're gonna make it, dude. I think this is I think this sounds like a really good plan. I think we can do it. And I think we made the best. I think we really did well this week. I think we have. Yeah, I think we were really efficient. I can't believe how well everyone came together and really committed to doing this. It was huge. Like waking up at 9, you guys are ridiculous. Like I didn't think that was possible.
That was the hardest part.
Yeah. It's Zargum burned. But yeah, so I mean, great work, guys. We had a long 2 weeks. I want to give space for everyone to kind of, or sorry, 2 weeks. That's how long the week was.
At least.
We had a long 2 weeks, right? It might have been a short 2 weeks, but like either way, it's over. We did it, and I want to give time for everyone to kind of give their closing thoughts and just kind of like sum up your week. How do you feel now? Maybe I don't know if anyone has any. Just basically close it out. Say what you think, and I'm not going to go first. So, who wants to check it out?
I want to say thank you because I think that everyone really busted their ass, and it's really cool, and it makes me feel good to see everybody's effort. And I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, C. Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm really excited to work with all you guys. This week showed me how seriously expertise in their corner each person is in this team. That makes me have a lot of faith and just be so excited to learn from you all. And I guess what I have a thought in my head right now about tangibles for making work serious. I just want to say, to me, when work is serious, we call each other. So if you ever want to not leave things on just chats, if you really want to get something done, especially with me, just call me and I'll make sure that my phone number is there and clear to you guys, and that WhatsApp is an available thing. And I'm excited to actually put the focus towards this project. That's not I'll answer that chat later and it gets pushed to 3 days. Let's be an office. Let's be a machine and adopt the elements of immediacy that some more traditional businesses have. And imagine that we're all available to each other all the time. You can come into my office and hit me up. And yeah, that's all.
Pass it.
You want to?
I was ready to jump in because I was excited about what you were saying. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely a phone talker. Also, anybody feel free to call me. I tend to believe, and it's a belief that I feel like is constantly reinforced by experience, that we can communicate much more richly and efficiently voice to voice than text to text. So I think that's awesome. I wish I could also make the same commitment that I'm available 24 hours a day to walk into my office. You can definitely come in if I'm not there or whatever. I'm sorry, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. But yeah, seriously, I came to this week, knowing a good amount about Common Stack and excited about the project, but I feel like a lot of fuzziness was wiped away for me, and I feel like this is while we're still positioning ourselves to mitigate a lot of unknowns, variables, and question marks. I feel like this is as much of a, looks as much like a tightly oiled machine as any team that I've seen in the blockchain space. And it's awesome. I'm excited to move forward with you guys and excited to see how it goes as we take a very, very big step here next month.
Who do you pass it to?
Chris.
Yeah, I just want to indeed say also thank you to everyone for all the energy and giving everything this week. I especially want to say something about Jeff. We had somewhere I think midweek a random conversation standing outside taking a break, and during that break suddenly a number of things clicked. which made us go in and be really energized, and suddenly the communication strategy, so to say, and all the puzzle pieces were just like starting to fall into place. So I'm really grateful that that happened. It's what I needed this week, and now I feel that I know what to do, and that it's very energizing. So I'm really thankful for that, and that I clicked so well with Jeff, and with all of you. But like Jeff is like the body. That sounds maybe strange, but you know what I mean. It's like it's like the communication element is like gonna be really important in the coming weeks, and I'm gonna try to be even in the same room as much as possible with Jeff, if that is even possible in any way. And another element that I just wanted to say, like in the period before this, it was a bit difficult for me to really step in completely because the Giveth future was very unclear. I cannot say that we have taken a decision because we will take a decision together on it. But I will create a Lumio to see like what we do with Giveth in the meantime when this craziness happens because I want to focus 100% on Common Stack, and that's first figure that out and as soon as I decide it,
No, there. It's gonna. Do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was disconnected just now. No, I think I'm also super excited because like the last couple of days, I learned so much more about the whole structure of the project and how it's set forward. For me, maybe the last few weeks were a little bit in the vague about where the project was heading to, but I think these few days were very good to get back into like an organization mode. So I'm very happy that with this group we succeeded indeed in structuring everything for the coming months. So yeah, I'm super excited to see that, and of course very grateful to be able to work with all you guys. I'll pass it to Ben. Because he's almost falling asleep, I see.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think it was really interesting. I mean, I don't mind being up at 9 o'clock or being in the office at 9 o'clock. I was up at 6:30 every day. So, I'm a constant learner, and I learned a lot in these few days. I really like Max's approach. I told him already. You know, the way he structures things and organizes things is really interesting, and I learned a lot from that. I'm always open to use new tools for the good or bad, whatever it shows me. And it was interesting to meet with Zargam here and have more time with him. That was really, really good to have some lunches together. I mean, we were just the two of us, so we couldn't avoid each other. Sorry for him.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for you. I would have liked to meet Adam and Jeff in person. I don't think we've met yet, only in the digital space. So that would have been nice. But on the other side, it's been great. It worked out very well on the technical side. I think the video calls and all the collaboration overall was pretty awesome. And we're in time, so it's even not even 4 o'clock, and we're almost done. So no, I really think this is great, and if we continue like this, we're probably the most structured and organized ICO ever happening. I'm not saying ICO.
Yeah, ever not happening.
Ever not.
Oh, no, I really like this.
Initial comments offering.
Yeah, it's the initial comments offering. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I'll stop ranting and give to Kai.
Yeah, I don't know. It shows my face green. If it does for you, okay.
You're part of Team Green.
Yeah, nice. So interesting week. We should do something about the audio, but I really liked the way this worked out, because I joined remotely most days. It was nice. There's lots of work to do. It is very exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm still a bit skeptical. I like to be, but that's the beauty. I also think it can come together greatly. I want to give you these words of this motivational video from Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said he was actually quoting Turner, I think it was, and it was like, work like hell and advertise. That was
What did he say?
Work like hell and advertise.
Work like hell and advertise, but I tried to say it like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Can only recommend the video. So very interesting. I really hope, so one of my big hopes is to get more out of this circle into the bigger community, and like maybe involve the hackathons. And we have not really talked about how it would structure development and these kind of things. So I hope there is I hope we can experience some openness now with ideas on these layers that are to be built. And so very exciting. Thank you guys for putting in all the work. Enjoy your ice cream, Sponnet. And I don't know, has Jeff gone?
No,
I have not. Cool. So this week has been amazing. It has been 8 hours of meetings, actually probably 9 or more hours of meetings per day. And each of those came away with tons of fantastic action items, which we now have a wicked project management system to organize. And it won't just be Google Docs, Google Docs, Google Docs. I think we should all work on putting our action items into Asana and improving those processes, making sure our projects are split out appropriately so we don't have this overlap that we've noticed so far. Of course, it's onboarding a team to a new tool. These things are normal. I'm really excited about what's coming up. I'm definitely going to be reaching out for support by chat, phone, email, especially during those crunch weeks when most of the team is away. If those guys who are around, heroes, please be ready to step outside usual responsibilities if necessary. We all really need to pull together and get everything done that we would normally perhaps rely on outside opinions. Z, I'm going to see you in Vienna from maybe the 8th to the 17th-ish. I don't know. I'll have to look into accommodations, but that'll be good to have final sync in a couple of weeks before conference time. And Kai, yeah, of course. I think with, we've put in the time for the prep. Now is the time for the sweat. And then, the elbow grease getting all this done. And we will definitely have to remain flexible and open in dealing with all the chaos that will be coming our way. And there's going to be a lot of changing and a lot of pivots. And we just kind of got to ride those waves and make sure that we're keeping our heads above water and maybe even hopping on a surfboard while we go. That'd be pretty sweet. One of the things I wrote down when I first started with the Common Stack, I wrote this big in my journal. I said, big dreams create the potential for big disappointment. And I think that was something I was just preparing myself for, that, I knew along this road of working on this project that we would hit many different walls. And you know what? We already have. And I remember when we were in Thailand and got, turned down for the Aragon DAC. And some people were really disappointed by that. And I looked at Griff and it didn't faze him one bit. And honestly, it didn't really bother me too, because I looked at this work and I said, this work has to happen. It's going to happen one way or another. We will pivot, we will grind, we will, change our funding mechanisms. We will figure out whatever way needs to happen, because this work has to happen, one way or another. I think I was chatting with Z the other day, maybe it was someone else, but I see us as almost the immune response of, this biosphere that is now attacked by, not under attack, but inappropriate system mechanisms has led us to a point of near systemic collapse. And really the biggest change we can make to address that is the foundational structure of the economic fabric of our societies. And I think we are attacking the biggest problem. Not to say that it's the only problem or that we are the only people addressing it. Of course not. This works on multiple scales and multiple levels. We need everyone doing work on every level. But I think this work is really foundational to helping everyone else do the work that they need to do. And I just see it as absolutely mission critical for everyone on this planet. I think it has so much good to deliver. So I just want to impart my passion for this project, and that we will get it done one way or another. And I am all in, and I'm so glad you guys are all here and delivering all the incredible talents that you bring to the table. And it is an inspiring place to be. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of months.
I think I'm the last one. Yeah, man, just to jive off of Jeff like that, I think that's exactly it. You know, we sometimes this week I feel like we drove down into the weeds and cleared off a lot of details. But what Jeff is saying is dead on right. You know, what we're working on is like, you know, this is changing the way the world works. This kind of stuff, this has the potential to really affect major change beyond what we can ever do. And what I love about this project is it's not about what we achieve, it's about building the foundation for what can be achieved. You know, we're not just, oh, let's issue a token bonding curve. We can make some money by building a community around token engineering commons. That's not what we're doing. We're open sourcing CAD. We're iteratively designing this stuff so that anyone can take what we've done and pull off and make it better. And that we are like we're building a trusted seed, right? That after this, you know, we're going to take the ball and we're going to run with it the best we can. And then multiple balls are going to just be created out of our ball, and anyone can pick them up and run. And it's not just us. You know, we have a chance to really build a foundation for the world to change. And I don't know how anyone could not want to work on this project. I mean, it's insane, right? Like this is the coolest thing that's out there in blockchain. So and we're gonna have huge community support. I think we're set, you know, but at the same time, ideas are cheap. You know, startups are like, oh yeah, oh that's a great idea. Venture capitalists, you know, they put money in or whatever, and then 90% of startups fail. And it's not because their ideas suck, right? It's because maybe their team wasn't put together. Maybe it wasn't the right time. There's a lot of things that come together. But I feel like after this week, we not only do we have the right people. I mean, everyone here is contributing this. Everyone here fills in the gaps of what we need. It's pretty perfect. I mean, Max, Swanette, like Bayern, you know, Zargum, like everybody here, like Laura, like hi, like everyone's putting something in. It's so important, you know, a perspective and a piece. And now that we've had this huge week, it felt like a boot camp, right? Where, you know, not only do we all like know what we need to do and we have it all outlined, we also built this huge trust with each other, you know, where, you know, it feels like, I don't want to say we're going to war, we're going to peace. Like it's like the exact opposite of going to war together. But at the same time, I feel like we have that same cohesion that comes after a boot camp. Maybe Bern is fine waking up at 6:30. I don't know how this happened. I'm still blown away that any of this was possible. It's not our European lifestyle, that's for sure. So, but I just, you know, I'm so excited. I'm so encouraged. You know, going into this week, I was really worried because I see my impending doom. You know, like I'm dropping off the face of the earth and going to another dimension. Okay, so like, you know, and I can't believe how much trust I have in that actually working out. I feel like we have all the pieces in place that, you know, for a lot of this project, I was really dragging everyone along that I could and just like scrambling. But now it doesn't feel like a scramble now. It feels like a march, and that I can just like let go, know that it's happening, and come back to like, you know, everything's perfect, and like all I gotta do is like start to get to work. Like I'm pretty stoked, guys. I'm pretty excited. So thank you guys for all this. It's cool that I get to finish it off. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming, and I'll see you. We'll keep talking probably tonight. And the work doesn't stop. The work doesn't stop.
We have a meeting with JP in 20 minutes. By the way.
We have a meeting in 20 minutes. There it is. So thank you guys. Yeah. Okay. Signing off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey, Z, would you be interested in joining with JP, or that's probably Griff and I? You probably got lots going on, eh?